Hi sewing friends, welcome to my sewing room. My name is Beth and today I'm playing with little tiny pieces of fabric, leftover scraps from a scrap quilt that I've been working on. Hopefully I'll have a video about that in the near future, but these are the tiniest pieces that I thought I'm going to see what I can make using all these really tiny leftovers. Find out how big of an item. I was thinking I would do a quilt block, but it turns out that they just turned into 3 small coasters. That just happened, and it's kind of an adventure when you sit down with tiny pieces of fabric. You really don't know where you're going, but somehow it works out in the end, and I enjoy the peaceful sewing time. So I'm going to put my scraps together, kind of see where they lead me, and then we'll put our little coasters together. After putting scraps together, I got them to be 5 by 5, a little more so that I could trim. So I trimmed my squares 5 by 5, and after doing that, I pulled out some batting and I trimmed the batting to 4.5 by 4.5. I prefer, when I make these little coasters, to have them just a little bit, the batting a little bit smaller so that it's not in the seam, that because I do kind of a pillowcase style, I'm not going to add binding to these. So I'll cut my batting 4.5, and then I will quilt before putting the backing on, and I've had questions about that. The quilting lines do not go through to the back of this little item, and it doesn't seem to cause any problems. It's just easier for me to do it this way. So I'm going to do quilting lines, just 2 diagonal lines through those 2 layers, and then I'll add my backing. So I put right sides together, and I want to leave an opening to turn this right side out, and my backing fabric is 5 by 5, the same size as my little scrappy quilt block there. So I'll go almost all the way around. I'll leave an opening to turn it right side out, but before I turn it right side out, I will trim the little corners so that I get a sharper corner when I turn this right side out. The last thing to do is just tuck the edges in. I think using your iron would help get those edges to stay in better, but I just tucked them in, and then I went around and put a seam all the way around a top stitch as close as I could to the edge, and these were all ready to go. So I was able to get 3 little coasters out of those tiny pieces of fabric left over from my project. I almost filed those little tiny scraps and put them away, but then I thought, you know, I'm going to see what I can get out of these scraps before filing them. Let's make something useful. So I now have 3 pretty little coasters to use or to give away. So thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.